going to show you exactly what you're doing wrong with your body position whilst attempting to take a novice to get their knee down for the first ever time. First, we need to meet our novice. So let me introduce Aaron. This is his second ever track day, and whilst getting your knee down isn't the be all and end all, we all know how exciting it can be for a track day novice. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Taylor Mackenzie. I'm an ex-professional British Superbike racer, and I've been instructing on track for 15 years. Before we head out on track, I'm going to take you into my studio where I'll show you exactly what I do with my body position and how to correct yours. So I'm tucked in on the straight like this. I begin to sit up, I slide to the inside as I'm beginning to do my braking. I'm now doing my hard bit of braking. My body's already in the right position. I've slid my bum off to the inside. And then what happens a lot of the time when I'm teaching on track is I've taught someone to move their bum off to the inside and stick their knee out. But that puts the fear in a lot of people, and they then become scared to hang off because naturally your body's saying, what are you doing? We're going to fall off. So what people then tend to do is straighten their inside arm. And the problem with this is you're basically counteracting everything you do with the bottom of your body. So if you're moving your bum off like that, but you're straightening your arm, you can see how my body is still in the middle of the bike and I'm not actually hanging off. And the reason you're trying to hang off is because if you imagine your bike, when people crash and they fall off the side of the bike, a bike will pick up straight and go straight by itself. You've all seen that before. And that's what your bike's trying to do all the time. It's always trying to go straight and you're trying to fight it into a corner. So the reason you're moving your bum off and your upper body off is to help pull the bike into the corner. If you sit in the middle of the bike, it'll only ever go so fast before you run out of speed and you won't be able to get around the track any faster. The whole purpose of this is moving your upper body to the inside to help pull the bike into the corner. Just so I don't fall off, I'll support myself with my foot here. But if you imagine that your knee's sticking out like that, what I try and imagine is I'm trying to touch my elbow on my knee. It doesn't matter if it doesn't touch it, but you can just picture how when my knee's up there, I'm touching my elbow onto my knee. And what that does is look how much my upper body comes down. So when your arm's straight like this, I'm sat in the middle of the bike and I don't really have anywhere to go. As I start to imagine touching my knee on my elbow, it pulls my upper body off to the inside. And now what I'm trying to do is keep my back, my upper body and my legs all in line. So I'm in a straight line. So I'm not sat on the seat with my upper body off like that. I'm not sat off the seat with my upper body on the bike. I'm sat hanging off the bike with my upper body in a straight line. Everything nice and even. It looks a lot nicer, it's a lot neater. And all your body weight is then off to the inside, which is really, you can see just understand how much weight is pulling this bike off to the inside. They're the important things to think about with your body position. It's the most useful thing I ever teach someone on track, especially for a road rider that has never ridden on track before. Moving your upper body and moving your body in general will help the bike around the track so much more. So it's something very important to think about. The same rules apply in the wet. You should still be doing it in the wet, even more so in some cases to help push the bike away from you to keep it up on the fat parts of the tyre. But no matter what your ability level is, whether you're a novice or you're an expert, I'd still be trying to move my body off to the inside. Just as you get faster and more confident, you'll naturally hang off more anyway to counteract what the bike's doing. Next up, we're going to head to the track to see how Aaron's getting on. He's got 3 sessions to go through, and I'll talk you through all the feedback I gave him at the end of each session to see if we can finally get his knee down in the final session. If you enjoyed that body position segment, that actually comes from my online course, which you can find in the description below, where I talk through everything you can possibly imagine to improve your track day riding, and it's on sale right now. So as you can see, it's nice and sunny in Spain. You can see Aaron is attempting to get his knee down already here. Now there's 2 ways to get your knee down. There's the right way and there's the wrong way. The right way is through correct body position and hanging off the bike and making sure you're in the right position. The incorrect way, in my mind, is to not hang off the bike at all but carry loads of lean angle. I don't need to teach you to suck eggs that as you lean the bike over, there's a higher chance of you crashing because you're getting onto the edge of the tyre where there's less grip and the bike can slide more easily away from you. When you're upright, you've got maximum grip. That's where you can brake the hardest and accelerate the hardest. But as you lean over, you have to have less brake pressure and less throttle application right on the edge of the tyre. So what I try and teach on track is as I'm leaning the bike over, so when I'm completely upright, that's when I'm doing the hardest bit of braking, and then roughly speaking, as I lean the bike over, the more I lean it over, the more I have to release the brake. And it's the same with the throttle. When I'm in the middle of the corner, right on the edge of the tyre, that's when I have the least amount of throttle. And then as I stand the bike up, I imagine that the tyre is connected to my hand. And as I stand the bike up and open the throttle, it all works together. And as I stand it up, then I can accelerate harder and harder. But it's only as I can stand the bike up that I can do that. The problem when you don't hang off the bike at all is you get right in the danger zone, you're sat in the middle of the bike, and if the bike does slide, you just become a passenger, because as you're sat in the seat, you slide with the bike, you have no way to move around the bike, you're just stuck in the seat, and that's when accidents happen. That's why people high side. So if you don't hang off at all, it might be fine for every single track day you do, but if you try and go that little bit more, or you lean over a little bit more, you're likely to have a crash. The reason I teach people to hang off the bike, and the reason you should think about it, is the more you hang off, the more maneuverability you've got. You can push the bike away from you. You can stand the bike up, which you'll hear people talk about on TV all the time. And you stand the bike up to get off the danger zone, the edge of the tyre. And at that point, you can then accelerate. So that's what I've been teaching Aaron here. A good reference I use when I'm teaching people is the middle of their back. So what I'm looking for a lot of the time is the logo on the back of people's leathers. So Aaron's got Alpine style leathers here. It's a little bit difficult to see because he's got a bib on, but basically what I'm looking for is the middle of Aaron's back to be on the right hand side of the seat, and at that point I know he's moving his bum off the seat enough to get his knee down. So at this point he needs to either hang off more if he's going to carry on going the same speed to get his knee down, or speed up. And at this point, I just want him to get his body position in the right place. I don't want him to speed up, because you shouldn't rush a novice into going faster. So I'm trying to teach people at this point, if they want to get the knee down, to hang off the bike more. So I'll play this here and we can see Aaron's back. He was actually worse going left. As you can see here, he was moving his bum off left. So if you use the Alpine style logo on the back of his leathers as a reference, you'll see here that his bum's in the middle of the seat. This is now the second session where I've talked to Aaron. I've told him you need to move your bum off more, and this was quite a good session because a couple of people passed him, and when they passed him he used them as a reference, and that sort of dragged him around a bit, and that got his speed to the next level really. And it was important that he got to the next level with speed, as it made it easier to get his knee down. So here he's still not quite moving his bum off enough. You can see the middle of his back is still on the seat. He was a little bit better going left here. As you can see now, his knee's getting closer, and that's not because he's really going any faster, that was just because he was hanging off more. As we go into turn one here, you'll see he's moving his bum off more, and he was actually at this point going fast enough to get his knee down, as you can see here, but he's not moving his bum off enough. So really, if he wants to get it down there, he has to go faster or move more. Here he's definitely going fast enough, but he doesn't hang off enough. And then we'll see here when he's going left, where he's not moving his bum anywhere near as much as when he goes right. And you can see here, although he's going the same speed as he was at the other corners, he's miles away from getting his knee down. Even though in his mind, as we all do, we feel like we're hanging off like Jorge Martin, he's still sat in the middle of the seat. Going right, he was much better. You can see now his bum's completely off the seat on the right-hand side, and that's really good. You'll see how close he's getting now in his second session with me. And the more we were talking about it, the more he was imagining it, and I was giving him confidence, telling him that he's very close, which you can see. But again, going left, although unfortunately for him, this was the fastest bit for him, where he was going fast enough to get his knee down, he wasn't actually hanging off enough. And that's something you should think about for yourself. I get a lot of people on track that tell me they're really good going right, but they're bad going left, or vice versa. And that's normally because your bum's not moving off the seat the same amount both sides. So picture that in your mind. You can see here, Aaron said he wasn't confident on the left-handers, and that's because he's not moving his bum off enough. So he'll go left here, not hanging off, and then as he goes right, he hangs right off, and you can see he's really confident. And that confidence is because he's hanging off more, and it's helping the bike turn around the corner better. So here we're getting really close now. A quick tip for someone that's really close, that's not getting their knee down, is to just buy thicker knee sliders. I've seen lots of people do that. You use some Alpine style wet knee sliders and you'll be getting your knee down in no time. But Aaron's getting closer and closer, so this is coming to the end of the second session now. I've got some more feedback for him, which is he needs to go faster through the middle of the corner and also hang off the bike more. The important part now with hanging off the bike more and carrying more speed through the corner is to do it at the correct time. So what I get a lot of people doing on track is they'll get to a certain lean angle, they're hanging off the bike a certain amount, but they're not getting their knee down. Now, the real way to fix that would to just be hang off the bike more. And if they hung off the bike more at the same speed, their knee would touch. That's the thing that's stopping them from getting their knee down. But what people tend to do is rather than moving their bum at that point, they speed up. And that's where people enter what I call the danger zone, where someone accelerates as they lean the bike over even more, which is the complete opposite of what I'm telling you to do. So what people do is, as they think they're at their maximum lean angle and they can't lean it over anymore and they're not getting their knee down, they open the throttle and lean it over at the same time. And that's the complete opposite, because as you lean the bike over and accelerate, you get into this danger zone, you get less grip as you lean the bike in, and that's where a lot of people crash. I've had many people on track get close to getting the knee down and then they try and fix the issue by accelerating into the corner, and that's the wrong way to do it. What you should be trying to do is braking later and harder whilst you're upright, and then releasing the brake and turning in and carrying the speed at that part. It's much safer to carry speed into the corner whilst releasing the brake, because that's when you're in the safe zone. If you get to a certain point and accelerate and turn in, that's when you're going to crash. So it's really important to think about that. If you're someone that's stuck with your body position and not getting your knee down, to not accelerate harder in the middle of the corner. Now this is the next session with Aaron, and as you can see going left now, he's hanging off a lot more. So I'll play this. He's very, very close to getting his knee down, and he's not actually going that much faster in the middle of the corner, he's just hanging off a lot more. But as you can see, he looks a lot more natural, looks better, and that's also giving him more confidence, which now at this point, he's able to carry more speed. So you can see his bum's off a little bit more, but we're also carrying way more speed in the middle of the corner. There, and that's the first time Aaron got his knee down. You see how happy I am in this situation. And then what's amazing is, once he's done it once, he's so close on the left-hander there, he can just do it every time. And I'm sure many people on track know that exact feeling, but look there, he gets it down straight away. He's falling victim a little bit here, if I just rewind that, to doing what I'm saying not to do. So he's turning into the corner and he's at a good speed, and at this point he's not getting his knee down, and we're in Almeria, it's nice and sunny, the tyres are nice and hot and grippy, so the chances of him crashing at this point are quite slim. He's also on an S1000RR, which has got traction control and all the rider aids to save him. Had he been on a different bike with worse tyres, this is potentially a place where you could crash. So you'll see me and Aaron are doing the same speed now, but watch how when he nearly gets his knee down, he accelerates and it pulls away from him. It's at that point there, I'll just play that one more time so you can see. When he's accelerating away and turning in, that's where you're getting into the danger zone. It's fine because he's still really safe and we're a little bit away from the limit, but that's the place that I want you to watch. But we'll watch Aaron now, and you'll see as he's getting more confident how he's able to fine-tune his body position. The next thing I actually taught Aaron was, he was getting so close to getting his knee down, but what he wasn't doing was moving his upper body. So if we go back to the start of the video, this is something for everyone to work on. You can see here his upper body is still basically in the middle of the bike. His head's in the middle of the bike and his shoulders are. And the reason that happens for a lot of people is, as they hang off their bottom more, when they hang off more, they get more scared that they're going to fall off the side of the bike. So people tend to straighten their arms and move themselves back into the middle of the bike with their upper body. And that just counteracts everything you're doing with the bottom half of your body. So as you see here, Aaron's not moving his inside arm really, it's quite straight. So what I taught him after this session was to bend his inside elbow and try and get his inside elbow as close to his knee as he can. And once you start doing that, we'll fast forward through here back to the next part of the video. You can slowly see as he starts to hang his upper body off more and more, we'll see this final session here, what a difference that made. You can see how much further he's hanging off going left, and you see his head now and his shoulder are all much more in line and much more further forward in the bike. And what that also does is gives you confidence with the front. You've got more weight at the front of the bike and you'll feel more confident with the front end. And that's why he's able to carry more speed through the corner and why he was finally able to get his knee down. You can see there how close his knee is to his elbow. And you don't need to be getting your elbow down on track days if you want to. That is also easily fixed by touching your elbow on your knee initially. If you get your elbow close to your knee, you'll then feel where your knee is, and if your knee's on the floor, you know then that you just have to creep your elbow down your knee, and that's how a lot of people get their elbow down on track. not necessarily for having huge corner speeds and maximum lean angle like MotoGP riders. Now, body position is unique to everyone and everyone has their own unique style, but for me, the basics of this are the points that I touched. Move your bum off the seat as much as you can, bend your inside arm, get your elbow as close to your knee as you can, and then look through the corner and get the front top half of your body forward and low on the bike, and all of that will give you more confidence with the front end. Now, I've taught hundreds of people on track for over 15 years, and all of this information is in an ebook and an online course that I've made. So if you're interested, the links are in the description below. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.